Howdy everybody, today's video is going to be covering solving quadratic equations in vertex form. So let's get started. What are these solutions that we were talking about? Well, they're going to be zeros, roots, and x-intercepts. Okay, don't forget that solutions are your zeros, roots, and x-intercepts. So, in vertex form, we find these by setting our equation equal to 0. By setting our equation equal to 0. So, as in y equals 0, f of x equals 0, etc. Okay, so solving in vertex form, first, we're going to go ahead and set your equation equal to 0. So as you see here, we have a times x minus h squared plus k. That's your vertex form, and we set it equal to 0. And then we're going to solve for x next. So solving for x, we need to do the opposite of PEMDAS, meaning, so add and subtract first. We have this k right here that we need to get rid of. So what's the opposite of plus k? Minus k. So subtract k from both sides, and you'll get negative k equals a times x minus h squared. Okay, and then next is going to be multiply or divide. So we have this a times your binomial. To get rid of the a, what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. So you're going to divide by a. So divide both sides by a, and you'll get negative k divided by a equals x minus h squared. And then finally, we need to do exponents. So we have a square right there, right here. And to get rid of a square, we need a square root. So square root both sides, and you'll get plus and minus the square root of k divided by a equals x minus h. Now, the reason why we have plus and minus is because when you take the square root of a number, you get a positive and a negative. Here's an example. So moving forward, if we have positive 2 squared, that'll give you positive 4. As well as negative 2 squared gives you positive 4. What? So if you do the opposite and you square root 4, if you square root 4, then you'll get two answers. You'll get a positive 2 as well as a negative 2. All right? Cool beans. So after that, we have one more thing. We have the minus h that we need to get rid of. So opposite of minus h is add h. So add h to both sides, and we'll have two answers. We'll have a positive plus h equals x, and then a negative plus h equals x. Now, why do we have two answers? Because we have a parabola, everybody. I don't do that. I don't do the other one. We have a parabola, and a parabola intersects the x-axis. And we'll have two x-intercepts, meaning we'll have two roots, we'll have two zeros, and we'll also have two solutions, which are all the same thing. Okay, so yeah, so that's why we have two solutions. Now, also, we could possibly only have one solution, because what if that vertex intersects your x-axis right there? That's only one solution. And we could also have no solutions. See, x-axis, parabola, and it doesn't touch, so there's no solutions. Okay, next. Let's go back a little bit. So we can only have 2, 1, and 0. We can't have 3 solutions. We can't have 4 solutions. Only 2, 1, or 0. Okay. Solving. First step when solving is to write down your equation first, and then set what equal to 0? Your equation. So we'll have 0 equals x plus 4 squared minus 25. Next step is to get rid of your remainder, so add 25 to both sides, and you'll get 25 equals x plus 4 squared. And then there's no a to divide by, so then skip that step. Next, we're going to get rid of the square, so square root both sides. So squared in 25, you'll get plus and minus 5. Remember that when you square root something, you get a positive and a negative. So plus and minus 5 equals x plus 4. One last step, we need to subtract 4 from both sides to get x by itself. So we'll have two solutions. We'll have a positive 5 minus 4 equals x, and a negative 5 minus 4 equals x. So 5 minus 4 equals 1, so x equals 1, and then negative 5 minus 4 is going to be negative 9. So there's your two solutions. Okay, next example. Write it down, write it down, write it down. Okay, so first step, set it equal to 0. 0 equals negative 2x minus 3 squared plus 8. And then we need to get rid of the remainder, get rid of k, so subtract 8 from both sides. So negative 8 equals negative 2x minus 3 squared. And then we have an a this time. We need to divide by a, which is negative 2. Divide by negative 2, and that cancels. So negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4 equals x minus 3 squared. Now, the opposite of squaring is square rooting, so square root both sides. And when you square root both sides, the square root of negative 4 is positive and negative 2. That'll equal x minus 3. Oops. Minus 3. One last step, we need to get rid of 3 so we can get x by itself, so add 3 to both sides. So we'll have two answers. Positive 2 plus 3 equals x, and negative 2 plus 3 equals x. So 2 plus 3 is 5, so x equals 5. And then negative 2 plus 3 equals 1, so x equals 1. There's these two solutions. Okay, final one. We have this example, word problem. Write this down, so pause it, write it down. Okay, play. Okay, so we have a flying fish. It jumps out of the water and makes a perfect parabola while jumping out of the water, which is pretty fantastic. I think it's cool. Okay, so look at this. How high will the flying fish be at 3 seconds? So that parabola of the fish is modeled by that equation, the vertex form equation, vertex form. And we have the flying fish at 3 seconds. So 3 seconds as in time. So to find the height at 3 seconds for time, we replace t in this equation with 3. So we'll get h equals negative 0.5 parentheses. So instead of t, put 3 minus 6 squared plus 18. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and get, PEMDAS, parentheses first. So 3 minus 6 is negative 3. So that'll be negative 0.5 times negative 3 squared plus 18. Okay. Now we'll get negative 3 squared. So exponents. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. So that'll give you negative 0.5 times 9 plus 18. And then we multiply. So negative 0.5 times 9 is going to be negative 4.5. So negative 4.5 plus 18. And finally, we'll get 13.5. So the fish will be at 13.5 feet at 3 seconds. Now it's 13.5 because 18 plus negative 4.5 is the same thing as saying 18 minus 4.5, which is 13.5. Excellent. Okay, now when will the flying fish hit the water? Now there's two instances where the flying fish will hit the water. One of those is, well, not hit the water, but be at water level. And one of those is when he's jumping out of the water. The other is when he is hitting the water again after coming back down. And so if he's hitting the water, what height is he at if he's at water level? 0 feet. So in order to find time for when he hits the water, we need to set h equal to 0. So set it equal to 0. 0 equals negative 0.5 times t minus 6 squared plus 18. And this just becomes like the previous slide. We're just solving for t, solving for x. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that done. But first, need to get rid of k, which is 18. So subtract 18 from both sides. So we'll have negative 18 equals negative 0.5 t minus 6 squared. Next, we get rid of a, which is negative 0.5. So we divide by a, so divide by negative 0.5. Now, dividing by 0.5 is the same thing as dividing by half. And dividing by half is the same thing as multiplying by 2. So we're actually going to multiply 18 by 2, which will give you 36. Now, the reason why it's not negative is because a negative divided by negative is a positive. So that's why it's positive 36. And that'll equal, we'll have 36 equals t minus 6 squared. All right, and t minus 6 squared, we need to get rid of the square. So in order to get rid of the square, we're going to square root both sides. So the square root of 36 is going to be plus and minus 6 equals t minus 6. And we have one more step, which is to get rid of the 6, so add 6 to both sides. So we'll have two solutions. We'll have t equals 6 minus 6, and t equals negative 6. Oops. We'll have 6 plus 6, and then 6 minus 6. There we go. So 6 plus 6 is 12. 6 minus 6 is 0. So we already know one of those is going to be when he's first jumping out of the water. And the other number is when he's hitting the water. So if at time 0 he's jumping out of the water, then obviously at time 12 is when he hits the water. So 12 seconds goes there. Two more questions, which are really easy. At what time did it reach its maximum height, and what was the maximum height? Now, this equation deals with the parabola. And the maximum or minimum point of a parabola is its vertex. So this is vertex form. Let's find our vertex, which is going to be hk. So hk is going to be 6, 18, where 6 deals with time, 18 deals with height. So that's its maximum height of 18. So what is the maximum height? 18 feet, because of our vertex. And then at what time did it reach its maximum height? 6 seconds. All right, so hopefully you got this. Not too bad, I don't think. Please don't forget to do a worksheet, do your notes, turn your work in, etc. Thanks for watching. Bye.